Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to the architecture of Cyberpunk 2077. In this video, we are going out to the Badlands and we're going to look at the various structures and locations outside the city, right? We need to get on a bike and we're going to spend a lot of time driving. Alright, let's go. Heading south from Pacifica. We follow this road. What a nice day for a drive. Out in the distance, look at those out there. There's a whole lot of white greenhouses. Let me make sure I don't miss this turn. Turn off here and then get on this dirt road. Into here. This is the Biotechnical Flats. So Biotechnica is the megacorp that is in charge of biotechnology. You get it? Biotechnica. Out here they have a large worm farm. So they farm, this is a protein farm. They farm worms for protein. And so there's no like cows or chickens anymore. It's all worms. All the meat you get in the city is worms. And let me get off the bike here. So this whole area is just this, right? It's just a lot of large covered greenhouses and inside of worm farms. Can I get further up? Oh, I can't get up there. Can I not get up there? Wait, what? Can I? Well, so as far as the eye can see, in every direction, it's just these greenhouses. What can we say about them? There's pipes, there's a front door, there's wires. You can't really tell how they farm worms, can you? Now everything's inside, and this thing is opaque, so we can't see inside. It is spread out though, so everything is spread out to maximize sun exposure, right? Like a greenhouse that you would need for plants, because plants need sunlight, obviously. And that's why when you grow crops in greenhouses, you want the greenhouses to have maximum sun exposure. Worms themselves don't need sunlight, but I'm guessing that they grow some sort of plant to feed the worms, and then they grow the worms that eat the plants, I guess, because otherwise why would you need sun like this? And this is pretty much the whole thing. Alright, it's just greenhouses. Now, if you think that this is crazy, wow, look at all these greenhouses, that's the whole landscape. It's not actually as crazy as the real world. So in the real world, in the south of Spain, so there's Spain, in this province, in Almeria, there's this. So this is a satellite image from space. And all that white, those are greenhouses. They grow tomatoes down there. They grow tomatoes and maybe other crops as well. Undercover. And putting them in the greenhouses allows them to have 2 or 3 harvests per year. So they're maximizing harvests by putting them under the greenhouse. And you can see this from space, by the way. If you're in the space station and you're flying over Spain and you look out the window, it's because it's white, right? So it reflects the light. And when the light reflects off of it, you can just see this patch of just greenhouses in the south of Spain. Yeah, no, you can see it from, there's so much of it, you can see it from space. Crazy. So that's greenhouses in the real world. If you think this is crazy, wait till you go to Spain. So this is like, you know, there is some real-world basis for agriculture like this. There are issues, of course. I mean, there's like plastic pollution issues and there's like water use issues because it is intensive farming. Like you use up a lot of water. So like industrial farming like this, you do you know, you use up a lot of land. You you also use a lot of electricity as well. Like the ventilation and the pumping the water and everything else. So it's not benign, but it is very productive. I believe those greenhouses in Spain provide tomatoes to the entirety of Europe, I think, if I remember right. But basically it's very productive, insanely productive, but also pollution issues and like environmental issues because you've covered so much of the land with plastic. Down here we have some tanks and pipes. I mean, that might be filled with worms, you don't know, right? It is a worm farm. I don't know what that is, probably like waste recycling, maybe? Compost tanks? I don't know. There's a lot of machinery here, and I mean, there's part of me that really wants to know how the worm farm actually works. But like a large-scale worm farm doesn't actually exist in the real world, so it's not like the game designers had anything they can use to reference. So it's just generic industrial stuff. We can't actually see how the worms get farmed, unfortunately. It is a megacorp, so everything's behind walls. We can't go inside most of this stuff. What are those, solar panels back there? Alright, not too much for us to see. Coming this way, there is a little bit of a gap inside the field of greenhouses. And then within the gap, there is a little settlement. Look at this. I mean, those are containers. That's part of the worm farms. Out here, there are some houses. And is that a little church in the background? So these guys don't seem like they belong with Biotechnica. They look like a different group of people. So this house, what is that, concrete? No, it's metal. Maybe it's concrete inside sheet metal. Oh, I don't know what that is. So this used to be a house, a proper slab foundation, or is that a timber frame? There's scorch marks. I think this thing burned down. Or it was burned, although the ceiling is not scorched, so that's a little bit strange. Not sure how that works. That's gone. Over here? Don't get stuck. A garage. Sheet metal. Can I get on the roof? The roof is also sheet metal, so fairly cheap construction. A little shed there, and then we have the main house. If you examine here, the house, there's a bit of a porch, but it's just a board sitting on concrete blocks. That's a proper concrete foundation, right? So they did lay a proper foundation here, or did they? No, 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 no. No, they didn't. It's on a steel. No, no, no. Okay, so there's like a steel frame holding up the house. Okay, and here it's sitting on blocks. So this is a semi-mobile housing unit. You can pick this thing up, put it on the back of a truck, and drive it away and move it around. So you truck it in, you get a crane, lift this thing off the truck, and then put it on whatever foundations you want to make. Here, this is pretty makeshift. That's not a good foundation, but okay. That's extremely, extremely makeshift. Just a few cinder blocks. And then you put the house down and you start living in it, right? Not sure if there's any water or electricity connection inside. Probably isn't. So that might be the toilet, because there's no toilet in here because there's no plumbing, because the whole thing is movable, so there's no pipe. So I think the toilet block is separate and the main housing is here. I mean, that's at least how I would read it. So cheap, and the kind of dwelling that is intended to be temporary, but when you're poor, temporary solutions often end up being permanent, because you can't afford to do any better, right? So a low cost, and it's not doing great. It's kind of old. Let's check here. There's some vending machines. I don't know who restocks the vending machines. Is this the same thing? This is the same thing, right? We have the cinder blocks for the foundations. A makeshift staircase up to the door. Look at that. Very interesting. Very makeshift. I guess the structure inside, there's like a steel frame inside, although here that's a bit strange. You see that, right? The steel frame doesn't quite stick into the building. They should have moved it in a little bit, so that it looks like the steel frame continues inside. Anyway, minor detail. So there's like a steel frame, it's like a container. It's like a shipping container, except it's got, you know, a house inside. It's got furniture inside. Probably like a kitchen and some rooms inside, maybe a bed, a couch. And as I said, can lift the whole thing up, put it on the back of a truck, and drive it away. What's going on here? Are these graves? I think these are graves. There's a lot of graves. A lot of graves. And not just graves, but like... The graves are not... They're not very elaborate. They're very simple graves. Like they just stick a pipe and put a wheel on it. Which suggests like a makeshift burial or a haphazard burial. It's like when you need to bury a lot of people quickly and you don't have time to give them proper headstones because you don't have time. So something bad happened here is what I'm trying to say. Like a lot of people died in a short space of time and they just had to bury everybody in a hurry is what this looks like. Could be some kind of plague, some kind of disease, could be violence. So we are surrounded by Biotechnica greenhouses. I mean, maybe this used to be a farming community and they owned the land, and then maybe Biotechnica hired some criminals, some nomad gangs or whatever, to attack these guys to try to drive them off, and then they killed most of them. And then the remaining people, they couldn't sustain the settlement anymore, so then maybe they had to sell the land to Biotechnica, and then Biotechnica moved in. Maybe that's what happened. It's the sort of thing that would fit the story in the game. Ultimately, we don't know what actually happened, but there's a lot of clues that something terrible, terrible happened, and a lot of people died very quickly. And then these guys, now they're stuck here surrounded by Biotechnica. Clearly, they're not making much money. Let's check out this church. Oh, this is... Okay, so this part is curious. The church is also a makeshift structure. Like, okay, wait a minute. So when you have a makeshift house, like a container that you turn into a house and you just put down, a house makes sense? A whole church though? A whole church is also makeshift? You bring the whole church in on the back of a truck? Or did you... I mean, maybe it was a house and they just, you know, added that to the top and changed it into a church. That's a church, that's a cross up top, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not a cross. I think the game is trying to avoid overtly religious symbols from the real world. So it's not a cross, it's like a circle. I haven't heard of refab churches before. I mean, churches don't have to look like churches. This one does. It's got the cross at the top and the church spire and all that. I mean, a church could just be a meeting hall, and you just call it a church, right? Because it's just a house to, or like it's a building for people to have their gatherings in. It doesn't have to be specifically a church. Hmm. A prefab church that you can put on the back of a truck and move around. You'd have to be like really dedicated to your faith to be doing that, I think. Instead of just, just finding any old building and having your services there. Inside the church though, it's not really a church. There's a whole lot of computer servers. This is an Easter egg that the developers put in the game, and it doesn't really have anything to do with anything. It's a part of a much more elaborate Easter egg. Like you have to find secrets, and you have to turn on the computers, and then it tells you to go somewhere. It's I'm not gonna go into it, but not actually a church at the moment. Although there are church pews in here, so once upon a time this was a church. We do have a garage. We do have a car. Right? I guess people still live here? Or at least they use the buildings. If we come around here, there are a few people. Look at this. A few more houses back here. What are these guys doing? Not much. They're grilling? Oh, look at this guy. He's got a hot dog. She's got a burger. What you cooking, buddy? Worms. Are those worms? Are those onion rings? Are those noodles? Or are those worms? It might be noodles. Might be fried noodles. So some people still live here, apparently. They're not doing anything, though. I mean, maybe they sold the land to Biotechnical and they're just living off the money they got from that. But they got nothing to do, right? Because the land is all taken by Biotechnical. They're not gonna farm anymore. What are these kids gonna do? Nothing. Don't know why they don't leave. I mean, would you leave? If you were in this situation, wouldn't you just, like, up and leave? Why would you stay here? Unless you can't afford to leave. Look at the foundations again. But at this stage, you can't afford to stay, right? This one is diagonal. What's going on with this one? Yeah, first of all, the foundations are haphazard. It's leaning to the side, you see that, right? It's not straight up and down. I mean, eventually the whole thing is just gonna slide off and fall over. Not sure if these guys have the resources to fix that, because how do you fix that? You need to get a crane in, lift the whole thing up, and then like fix the foundations. Or maybe not, maybe like get a hydraulic jack, or like a lot of hydraulic jacks, and just jack the house up, and then fix the foundations. You can probably fix this without having to spend too much money. But you better do it quick, before the house like falls over completely. What's that over there? Electrical. Oh, interesting. There's an electrical connection? Is this a generator? Huh. Well, they have electricity. So, I mean, it's a proper settlement. Extremely poor one. I think mostly this is just here to serve as a contrast, right? Contrast between these people trying to survive, and then the megacorp out there who completely ignores them and does not help. I guess that's the contrast. It does add something to the story, right? It's not just greenhouses, like in the middle of the greenhouses there's a settlement of people who have nowhere to go and they're completely trapped by the megacorp. Very cool. Back on the bike, moving on. Which way am I going? I don't think we can go that way. This way? Oh, there's these things too. Are these like power pylons? I think those are power cables. Although the power cables don't really connect to the greenhouses. Maybe they go into the ground and then they go into the greenhouses from underneath. A lot of pipes. I mean, the worm farms would need water. They would need electricity. And then these tanks, right? What happened to the tanks? Like, are those worms in there? Is it... I don't know. So, I guess the worms here would get shipped over to the All Foods factory. Remember that one? The All Foods factory over in... north side. Oh, hey, what is this? There's some bigger tanks back there. Look at that. There's a big tank back there. I guess at some point the trucks will come in. Not sure about the containers though. Wouldn't you use like a tanker for protein slurry? It sounds disgusting, right? Like you would grind the worms into a slurry? Or do you like dry the worms? Maybe you dry the worms into a powder and you get worm powder and then you rehydrate it over at the factory. Ah, gross!
Yeah.
I mean, if it's worm powder, then you would use containers. If it's a worm slurry, you would use a tanker, right? Just boxes. Can't really see. Can I get in here? What is this? See, look, there's buckets. I mean, there's like, you know, barrels. If it's worm slurry, maybe they're in barrels. Get under here. Wait, how far can I go? Eventually we're gonna get blocked off. The game designers don't really want you wandering around back here. Yeah, it's just rows and rows. Occasionally there's like a tank of something. Nutrients maybe. And they're all connected by pipes. Oh, the other thing is, why are they separate greenhouses? Because, you know, it might be more efficient to just have one continuous roof. Because, you know, like you have the roof and the walls, right? And then another one, roof and walls. Whereas if it's just continuous roof, then you don't have to spend any plastic on the walls. So you use less plastic if it's just one continuous thing. Why will it be separated into individual modules instead of just one enormous covered facility? Maybe quarantine problems. Maybe if something goes wrong, you need to contain them and not have them connected. Maybe. Again, we're speculating on a science fiction worm farm, and there's nothing we can really reference in the real world. There's another road here, huh? I should run back. There's nothing here, I don't think. What is this tank? There's a big tank up there. Or is that a big pipe? There's a big pipe up there. Wait, no, a big tank. It doesn't continue. And then... yeah, this is the dead end already. We can't get any further than this. Let's run back out. Can't really tell what's going on. Process cooling. Interesting. I mean, the inside of the greenhouse gets quite hot, right? And then you have cooling. I should have done some research. Like, how do you grow worms? I don't know if there are books on how to grow worms. Like, what is the optimum temperature for growing worms? I suppose it would be maybe depending on what kind of worm it is. I just caught my bike back there. Let's get back outside. Hey, the pump's making noises. Get my bike back. Continuing out here. Don't hit the barrier. Wait, no, wrong way. Around the barrier. We're not meant to be here, right? Alright, around the barrier, and let's get away from the greenhouses. There's some structures back there. It looks like they belong to Biotechnical. And then we go on to this highway. We're gonna turn south. So, Night City's back there, right? Night City is close to the border. It's in North California, but it's at the southern end of it. It's close to the boundary with South California. And there's the boundary there. We come down this highway and we get to this checkpoint. This is the checkpoint between North and South California. It is heavily militarized, so we're not gonna go through it. In fact, there's a bit of a rest area back here. Let me drive into there so I can park my bike. So back here, there's a bit of a parking space. If you need to cross the border, but you can't do it right away, you can take a break here. So recapping again the political situation in Cyberpunk. At the end of the last war, North and South California ended up on different sides of the conflict. The northern side belongs to the Free States, but Night City is independent from the Free States. So Night City is neutral territory, and then South California belongs to the new United States. So the Free States are basically the rebels, and the new United States is the feds, right? So it used to be, back when there was peace and everybody was happy with each other, there would have been a lot of trade along this highway. This is like the main trade route between North and South California. But now that the war happened and everybody is angry at each other, none of the trade goes through here anymore, right? If I read the story right, it's the NUSA who built the boundary wall. They built a wall to keep out the riffraff. So this thing is guarded by the NUSA, I believe. I don't think Night City has any interest in closing the border, but the NUSA closed the border. We shouldn't go too close because if we do, they'll start shooting at us. The border looks like that. We can see the wall out there, right? It's just a big concrete wall with barbed wire on top, razor wire on top. So that's what the wall looks like. Looks a little bit like, you know, a war in real life. The gate is ugly and concrete and menacing. I mean, it's deliberately ugly. I don't mean to say it's bad design. I mean to say that it's deliberately ugly because it's supposed to, you know, be militaristic and menacing and deter you from going through. Right? It's this meant to, it's not welcoming, let's put it that way. They're not looking for tourists or immigrants. I mean, there's like guards everywhere, there's drones patrolling above. I mean, there's sort of this military aesthetics, right? The angles. I'm not sure if they're practical here, the angles. So the angle, it's for, you know, in military architecture, you angle your walls so that any cannon fire or artillery fire would bounce off, as opposed to like a vertical wall. You shoot straight at it, like the full energy of the projectile goes straight in, right? Whereas if it's at an angle, the projectile would bounce off, and so the energy is deflected, right? And so when you have a fortress or you have a fortification, you would have these like sloping walls outside the fortification. You have like a bunker inside, and then sloping walls on the outside, so that when you get shot at, the shells bounce off. So that's the military aesthetic, and that's why you have the sloping parts like that. And even the inverse slope also I mean, I'm not sure if bouncing the projectile down is a good idea, but you know, the sloping things. And you see these shapes in tanks a lot, in modern battle tanks, because, you know, they're trying to deflect projectiles. Here, though, I'm not sure it makes sense in a war like this, unless you know, expect to be attacked by tanks. The thing about these sloping walls is you can just run up them. So if you are not a tank, if you're a dude trying to jump across the border, you can just run up that and then climb over. I mean, they'll try to shoot at you, which is not a good idea. But if they're not shooting at you, you can just like climb over. So it's good against heavy artillery. It's not good against infantry, this design. Anyway, it looks very menacing. And maybe that's the most important part. As we see, the car park is empty. No one goes through here anymore. Unless you have permission from the NUSA, which doesn't happen very often. But you can see the size of this car park. So once upon a time, a lot of people went through here. And now nobody goes through. Alright, we're not getting through, so let's turn around and drive back. Let me try and remember where I'm going. Am I going this way? I think I'm going this way. Out here we have these things. I'm not too sure what these things are. I mean, at first glance I thought maybe are they solar panels? But why would there be solar panels out here, right? And then when you get closer to them, they don't look like solar panels. Look at that. So I think maybe these are radars. Maybe these are radars, and maybe this array is a huge air defense system. Maybe. So these radars... Do you guys know about your radars? Let me get back to Wikipedia. So, we have phased array radars. And they're flat panels. I mean, this one looks like that. If you want to look at all the technical details. So this is like a radar in a modern fighter jet. Northrop Grumman and Raytheon. Bringing you war. Right, so here we have a fighter jet with a radar in the nose cone. But the one in the game is huge, and there are huge radars too, look at that. So we have a vehicle mounted system, just a big old panel on the back of a truck. And in here, an even bigger panel on the back of a truck. So you can't just have giant panels. And these are radars used for air defense, right? So maybe that's what it is? I'm not sure. I mean, I can't really... Like, what else could it be? What could these things... Why would it be here? And they are pointing south, right? They are pointing towards the enemy, which is South California. The issue with this being an air defense system is that we don't see any missiles. Because I mean, the radar tracks the planes, and then you need something to shoot them down, right? In the entire Badlands, we don't see any missile systems. So it's only half the system. I mean, maybe the missiles are buried in the ground or something, I don't know. That's possible. But they look cool. I mean, at the end of everything I say about any of this stuff, at the end, it looks cool. Doesn't really matter what they are. There's these things in the desert, and they look cool, right? I think they're radars. If I haven't gotten lost yet, we are going to follow this road a little bit. Maybe I have got lost. I think I meant to go over there. that way. Let me take the turn if I find it. Oh, don't crash your bike. Yeah, no, there's a parallel road here that I've missed. Let me, like, just go off-road a little bit. Out here, we have an old airport. Oh, how do I get in? Oh, don't get stuck. Oh, I just crashed. I just knocked the wall over, right? Alright, through the wall. An old airport. You know, like airport with planes. You know what planes are? In the year 2077, we don't have planes anymore because we have anti-gravity technology and we have flying barges. But once upon a time, like 100 years ago, in the year 1977, there were planes! Aircraft with wings! I think there's a runway here. This is a runway, right? And then we have... Is that the old traffic control tower? Not much left of it, huh? And then we have a big old shed. And it faces that way. Steel construction, steel frame, and then sheet metal on the outside. It's not that big, so even back when this was actually an airport, it wasn't a very big airport. It was an okay size, not a huge one. Not much left of it now, though. In fact, I'm surprised it's still standing. You'd imagine one or two hurricanes coming through here and all these metal sheets would just get ripped off and it would just be a frame left, right? I'm surprised this has survived this long, to be honest. No sign at all at what the inside used to be like. I mean, there would have been some waiting areas, cargo handling areas, maybe some... or somewhere they check your documents. But anyway, none of that is visible anymore. Or maybe it was never really that visible to begin with. It could have just been a shed. And everything could have been haphazard, maybe. Some old furniture? Chairs and things? Is it a desk? A bed? Why would there be a bed in an airport? A little bit strange. There's a little staircase there. I don't know if there's much value going up to the roof, though. Let me shimmy my way around here. And we jump. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Can I get back out? I should have jumped that way. There's a wall here. We can... Oh, that's not intended. And the top of the roof, yeah, no, you see how these aren't even nailed down anymore. You get a stiff breeze and all the stuff is gonna blow off. So that's the old airport. Not much left for us to look at, but enough for us to see that it is indeed an airport. Wait a minute, that's not the runway. The runway is out there. Is that the runway? It's a big straight road. And no hangars. Maybe the hangars did blow away in the wind. Actually, what's that structure there? Oh, a gas station. Should we take a look at the gas station? Let's go over there. Take a look at that gas station. Let's try not to fall down too far. The thing about gas stations, right? If there's no cars out here, if there's nobody out here, why is there a gas station? gas stations seem to be in rather good shape too. Let's just take a closer look at it. If I can... Do you think I can just ram this down? Oh my god! No, we can't ram this down. Wait, there's an opening there. Oh, my bike is stuck in the gate. Well, that's glitched out. We're running. What does this say, by the way? Let me just check this. What does the game call this? Regional Airport, okay. Alright, call my bike. Reset my bike. What does that say? Airport, alright. There's a gas station here. Let's just check the state of this, right? I don't think they're selling gas anymore. There's a lot of... There's a trashed car here. More concrete barriers than you would expect. Oh, I think at some point somebody set this up as a temporary stronghold, didn't they? Yeah, no, I think this is for, like, for firefights. So things happen out here in the Badlands. There are nomads and there are gangs. And they do get into conflict with each other from time to time. So this might be a little fort for a gunfight. This has been completely emptied out, as you might expect. Like there used to be a gas station here, but nobody needs gas at this location anymore. Alright, back on the bike. Going back the other way. Ah. There's containers out here. I wonder if they... Oh my god, that's the end of the runway. I wonder if they had cargo flights from here. Doesn't seem like a big enough airport for that, but who knows, right? This way? What is that over there? Oh, there's a black site over here. It is a part of a side quest in the game. But one of the corps has a black site out here where they hold people against their will. If I remember right. The walls are a little bit busted. Looks like it's been attacked. Right, looks like oh, I think he's gonna be angry if he sees me. No? Oh, interesting. I mean, it says area hostile. So what are these walls? It's just fabric? Oh, this is very makeshift. It's just a steel frame with fabric wrapped around it. Militech, right. It's a Militech black site. They don't expect to have to defend it very hard. It's not a concrete wall. Hastily put together, I guess? The buildings on the inside are concrete, though. Are people gonna get mad if I walk in here? Apparently not. So inside there are concrete slabs on the ground. Bit of a storage. And then there's the main building back there. Hahaha, somebody's busted a hole back here. And they're holding people in here, or they were. So the building, maybe they took over this building. Maybe it wasn't always a black site. Yeah, no, look at that. They stuck a piece of cloth on it. So the Militech logo is not on the building itself. It's like on a banner, and they just taped the banner, or they nailed the banner to the outside of the wall. So maybe this wasn't always a Militech site, but it has been taken over by the Militech now. And they've like put in a guard tower there. So the guard tower, look at that. The architecture of the guard tower, the materials, the colors, is a different thing from this. This is like a concrete structure. It could be like an old garage or something. Maybe even like I don't know, a warehouse. But the tower is just black metal, which is completely different from that concrete. And then out here, there's this black metal stuff, so maybe they added this block to the front. Added the tower to the front. That's also metal, I believe. Yeah. Except the sheet metal on top is a different thing. So it looks like Militech came in, added some stuff to an existing building, and then just hastily put a wall around everything and turned it into a black site where they are holding people against their will. And then there's the gatehouse here. The gatehouse is also the black metal, right? So this is also new. Let's get back outside. Actually, can I like open that? No. Alright, back out the side door. I mean, there's stuff like this all around the Badlands. Little buildings that, you know, like you wonder like why is there a building out in the middle of nowhere? A lot of it is gameplay, but you can kind of make up a story for it, right? Even though it is the Badlands and it's desert, it doesn't mean there aren't any people out here. Like the corps do nefarious things out here, and as we said, there are the nomads and the gangs. Here, the next building, we have Tangled Horse Motel. Interesting place for a motel. We're a little bit far from the highway, the north-south highway. But maybe once upon a time, when there was more traffic going to and forth the highway, maybe some people would come to the motel for a rest break. These days, the Wraiths outlaws have tagged the front. I believe the Wraiths have taken over this motel. It's a pretty small one, look at that, there's what, 6 rooms? So it was never very big to begin with. Looking inside, they've turned this into a bit of a rest room. And then, I mean, this used to be the reception, right? Back here, they have set up a makeshift clinic, or like a field hospital. I guess they'd come here to patch up if they need to after a firefight. And a motel is actually quite well suited to be a field hospital, because if you really think about it, what is a motel? There's rooms, there's beds, and each room has like its own water supply. There's like a sink, a kitchen, a toilet. So it's like it's kind of like a hospital. A hospital has rooms with beds and sinks and all that. A motel doesn't have an operating theater, but they've improvised one in here, right? Actually, what does this used to be? I'm not sure what this used to be. Oh, is that a kitchen? No? There's a toilet there. Did the motel owner used to live in this room, I think. Anyway, they turned this into a makeshift clinic, a field hospital. And then, like, after you get patched up, you can go into one of the motel rooms to rest up. So, yeah, no, pretty good. A sensible thing to do with an old abandoned motel, and you can see how they put some medical equipment into the rooms. You can imagine, you know, you get treatment here. You have a bed. You have your own toilet and shower. An excellent use. Excellent opportunistic use of existing resources, right? Reusing the old architecture into something useful, right? Very clever. Continuing out this way, in the distance. Actually, what's going on? There's some power plants in the distance, but before that, we have another old gas station with a garage out here. So the gas station, once again, nobody gets gas from here anymore. Maybe they do, wait a minute. Let's check. Nope. This is well, not completely emptied. What are those anyway? Are those condoms? Wait, what are those? Hey, it's not completely empty. Maybe this is still operating. In the game? Oh, look at that. There's still some stuff on the shelves. In the game, there's a sequence where we come in here, if I remember right. The nomads come here from time to time. So the nomads, they roam the Badlands, and sometimes they do trade caravans, and they trade between the cities, or they just roam from city to city looking for work, right? And they do use cars, and every so often they need to repair their cars. And I think this is one of the stations where the nomads come in to do repairs on their cars when they need to. And maybe this gas station is still operational for them. There's not very much business out here, but it looks like there's enough business for this particular gas station to stay in business. Just trying to see if I can open any of these doors. It's pretty small. There's not much going on. But you don't need very much, right? Just need fuel and some tools to do some work on your cars. And this is the garage office, I suppose. Pretty bare bones. Oh, I don't want to be here. There's no one manning the gas station though. There's still like a little bit of food on the shelves, but nobody's actually here. Not too sure what to make of that. Oh. Am I blocking the road? Alright, well, I mean, there are still cars here, so I guess the gas station is still running. Up ahead we have power stations. They look like concentrated solar power plants, but they're not. In the game, these are actually satellite microwave power plants. Or at least one of them are. It's a little bit confusing. On the map, they call it solar power plants. And then in the game, they call it satellite wave power plants. So I think at some point they changed the story, like maybe they designed it originally as solar power plants, and then as they went on and developed the game, they kind of just changed their mind and they changed it to satellite power plants. So the solar power plant, if it was solar power plants, how this would work is all the mirrors would concentrate the sunlight. So these are mirrors. Concentrate the sunlight into the tower. In the tower, the heat of all the light would either boil water directly at that point in the tower, and then you would use the steam from the boiled water to drive a turbine, and you would generate power that way. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you store the heat in molten salt. So you pump the salt up there, the salt absorbs the heat. You use salt because salt has a high heat carrying capacity. And then you heat up the salt, you pump the salt back down, and then you store the heated salt. And it you know, because it's so hot, it takes a long time to dissipate. And then you use the heat of the molten salt to then boil water, make steam, and then have the steam drive a turbine. So that's how solar power plants usually work. And if we look in there, there is a pipe in the middle of the tower. And so maybe we are either piping water and boiling it into steam, or we are piping salt and then storing heat in the salt. So that's what that would be, except if we look around, there's no facility for boiling water, driving turbines. So where's the turbine building? We don't know. So if it is a solar power plant, we're missing that part. Assuming it is the same kind of solar power plant that we have in the real world. I mean, it's possible, since we are in the year 2077, in the future, maybe in the future there's some new technology that directly converts heat into electricity. Maybe there's, I don't know, there's a Stirling engine in there or something, I don't know. But there are ways, even today there are ways to convert heat into electricity more directly than boiling steam. So maybe there's some future technology going on, and you don't need the steam turbine, I don't know. If it's not that, then we're missing the steam turbine. And there are 3 sets of these, except the last set is different. Once again, this is involved in the game's story, right? Well, hey, some people are having a nice rave out here in the middle of nowhere. Let me drive over there. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's 4 of them. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Over here we have solar panels. I think these are solar panels. These are not the radars. Right, these look a lot more like actual solar panels, except they're all pointing in different directions. And the sun's over there, so they're all pointing the wrong way. Not sure about these things, but let's pretend they're solar panels. So we have 3 of these big circles, concentric mirrors to concentrate on the sunlight. And then the 4th one is a little different. So as I said, like, are these solar power plants? Are these satellite wave power plants? The story definitely says that that one, at least, is a satellite power plant. Maybe they're different power plants, or maybe that's the satellite one and these are the solar ones. The satellite one, it looks different, and it works differently too. Satellite microwave power is a science fiction technology, but in theory, we have enough, like we have all the technology to build this sort of thing, in theory, today. What it is you send a lot of solar panels into space, into, I guess, geosynchronous orbit. And the solar panels in space collect sunlight, convert it into electricity, and then you convert the electricity into microwave, and you beam the microwaves down to the ground. Like a big-ass laser. Except that it's not so concentrated. So if you're underneath it, you'll get a little bit warm, but you won't get completely cooked. So you still need to concentrate the microwaves back into a receiver, and that would be hot enough to then do whatever the other parts is. You boil steam, drive turbines, maybe. So it's solar panels in space, and then you convert it to microwave, and beam it down, and you collect the microwaves, and then convert it into electricity. So that's what this is supposed to be. Again, I'm not sure how you convert the microwaves into electricity on the ground here. There's no turbines that I can see. Let's get inside first. Again, it could be some sort of science fiction technology where you directly convert the microwaves into electricity. Some sort of, it's like a, I don't know, maybe it's like a solar panel, but no, not exactly the same. Like solar panels directly convert sunlight into electricity, right? So it'll be conceivably you can have some sort of technology that directly converts microwaves into electricity. And here it is also a concentric design, but these are not mirrors anymore. I don't know how these would work. Maybe it's not microwaves, maybe it's like radio waves. Because if the wavelength is significantly larger than the gaps, then the gaps won't matter, right? That's how radio waves work. Yeah, I don't know how this works. But the idea is the energy is concentrated into that tower and converted into electricity. And during the game, we do sabotage this thing. We overload this and we blow it out. And the consequence of blowing this, it also blows out all of those, which I'm not sure how that works because they look different. Like, are those solar power plants? Or are those also microwave power plants? I don't know. But in the game, like, it blows this out, it blows those out, and then the whole city is blacked out. So the whole city loses power when that happens. So we know that this is one of the main power sources for the whole city. And remember when we walked through Rancho Coronado, on this end of Rancho Coronado there was a huge electricity substation. And it's in this direction. So the electricity cables probably go from here into Rancho Coronado and then into the city from that substation. So it's pretty cool, right? Like once you see enough of the city, you can see how all the infrastructure joins up. Pretty cool. Again, this is science fiction. We don't have satellite microwave power yet, so we don't know if this is actually what the real thing would look like. But in the real world, the Chinese apparently are working on a prototype and they're gonna test it out once they figure it out. So they're gonna like try to put a solar panel out there and then try to beam down energy. So it's in early days. We're not gonna get it. Well, we're not gonna have commercial satellite energy for maybe multiple decades. But it's not so far in the future that it's, you know, complete fantasy, right? It could be real within our lifetimes. Alright, cool, let's get back out. Oh, can I get out from this side? I think I can. And over. Continuing down this road, I think the next thing we're going to see is the top of the dam. Okay, let's see how we're going. I think we're coming this way. There's some sheds with pipes on top, up ahead. No idea what these things are, but I mean, look, there's pipes there. So there's pipes inside there, and then there's pipes here. And then there's pipes there. So maybe steam, maybe molten salt, maybe. Probably not molten salt, these pipes look kind of filthy. But if it is steam, are they driving turbines in these buildings? These buildings don't look big enough for turbines, right? So something's going on here, I just don't know what the idea is, but there are pipes, and they do join to these buildings. I mean, it's meant to be a power plant. I just don't know how the whole thing joins together or how it works. How do you convert that into electricity? And how do those fit in? Who knows? Up the hill. So remember the last time we were here, we were on the Rancho Coronado tour. We came down from the dam this way. This time we're going up this way. that giant barge in the background. That's so cool. There's something like it's a throwback to the old airships. You know, like the old Zeppelins. And this setting is so interesting. It's like futuristic in some ways, but it's retro in a lot of ways. Like big floating ships just kind of drifting across the sky. Reminds you of airships from like a century ago. Going back this way, there's more of those things. As I said, I thought those are radars, right? Actually, how far can we go? Oh, that's a house, right? So Laguna Bend, we're up here in the reservoir. So behind the dams, so there was 2 dams, remember? Behind the second dam, there's a big reservoir. It's called Laguna Bend, but really Laguna Bend was the town. The town of Laguna Bend, which used to be here, but now is buried under the water. You can see like lampposts and power lines sticking under the water. So the road goes from there, you see that? There used to be a road that goes from there down the hill, and there used to be a village in the valley down there, but that's all been flooded for the sake of building this reservoir. And there's also a lot of trash in the water. So this is a water supply reservoir and there's trash all over it. But that's the least of the problems, because in the story they tell you that the water is highly toxic. And like the whole area is highly toxic because of some industrial thing in the past. Maybe some sort of industrial accident. So the highly toxic water is obviously heavily purified before it can be used for drinking purposes. Not too much to say about it. But it's one of these things in the game where, oh, I mean, if you don't look too closely, if you don't know the details, it looks quite beautiful, right? Look at this beautiful, calm landscape. But actually, the water will kill you if you swim in it. The water will kill you. Let me drive over there. I'm not sure what that is. There's a building over there. So these radars line the top of the cliff. Those radars line on the top of the cliff, and then this is... What is this? There's some trashed cars out the front. This used to be like a... Oh, there's wraiths in there. This used to be a agricultural thing, right? Oh, poppy farm? What is poppy farm? Did those used to be like grain silos? Feed silos? Did they keep animals in here? It looks like they used to keep animals in here, right. Animal pens? Not much going on here anymore though, because we don't have animals like this. I think this used to be a cattle farm, but no more beef, only worms now. So this is out of business for a while. Although it looks like... I'm just wondering... It looks like a lot of this stuff could be scrapped and sold for money. So I'm not sure why they would just leave this lying around. Could you scrap this and sell it for money? Probably. Or like take it and reuse it somewhere else. Surprisingly intact. I don't know how long ago. No, actually. It's like maybe 2 or 3 decades ago. So in the game, there's a story where one of the bad guys has flashbacks to his childhood, where his father kept cattle in a facility like this during his childhood. But even back then, the business was failing and it wasn't doing very well. They had to go to rather extreme lengths to try to keep the cattle alive, like a lot of hormones and chemicals in the feed. So the guy was still alive. He was adult. He was still alive, and when he was a child, there were still cattle here. So maybe 20 or 30 years ago, there were still live cattle. So maybe this is like 20 to 30 years abandoned. Does it look like that? I don't know, it looks too new, actually. It looks a little too new to me. But the Wraiths have claimed this facility, so maybe the Wraiths use this often enough to make it look more occupied. Over there's a little house. Again, it's part of one of the game stories, one of the game side stories. Not too much to say about the little house. In the story, one of the people who used to live in Laguna Bend decided to come back here and build a house to be as close to his old home as possible. Kinda sad, really. Should we examine the architecture? We have a steel frame house, sheet metal walls, and also for the roof, right? Let me check, right? Sheet metal roof, we do have solar panels. But there's also a power cable. Huh. Maybe it's not always solar panels. Is it a gas tank? But it's the sort of gas tank that requires regular deliveries, isn't it? Because you wouldn't... There's no gas supply. Except you have to call a truck in and buy a gas, I think. What's going on? Check the foundations. Can't really see. The foundations are concrete blocks. Yeah, no, it's the same construction method as the other ones. Makeshift concrete block foundations. And then you build... before the water. And then you build this thing on top. Although this is too wide to fit on the back of a truck, so I don't know about this one. I mean, you can truck this, but because it's so wide, you have to clear the road. It's a wide load. Like when you have a wide load, you need to have like a leading car to make sure that the traffic in front knows that this thing is coming, so you don't like hit anyone with it. Not sure if any of those laws apply in the game. In the real world, like you can transport a wide load on the street, but you need to do a lot of stuff to make sure that you don't cause an accident. Is this a septic tank? I think this is a septic tank. Maybe it's not. When you're off-grid, your poop needs to go somewhere, right? And so often you will have a septic tank where you store the poop in a concrete tank buried in the ground. And again, once in a while you have to call somebody to come out and pump out all the poop to clear out the septic tank. So living off-grid is a little bit of a hassle. So there's the foundation, right? There's the concrete blocks. That looks so haphazard. They don't even line the blocks up. It's just like... No way, come on. This is... Look, if you're gonna do this, you guys watching this video, you need to like what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm trying to fix my... Okay, there you go. Yeah, no, if you're gonna build a house like this, get your foundations right, because if your foundations fail, your whole house falls down. Here's the inside. Abandoned lake dwelling. It's not bad, right? There's a kitchen. There's running water, apparently. Where's the water tank? Maybe it's not a septic tank, maybe it's a water tank. There's a stove there. A fridge, apparently the fridge is on. A little bit of a lounge. It's kind of nice, right? Kind of cozy. Dining table for two. Very cute. Over here we have a bedroom, a big bedroom. And then bathroom. Oh, it's clean. I mean, in this game, a clean bathroom is surprising. I can't believe it's a clean bathroom. Oh, very cozy, very nice. You know what? This is quite nice. And there's a little bit of a back porch over the water here. You wouldn't go fishing because there's no fish, because the water is toxic. But the view is nice. A clean bathroom. Unbelievable. What is this? A normal house? In Night City? So the dam is there, right? Let's go check out the dam. Although there's not too much to see, it's a dam, like you know what a dam is. It's a big concrete wall that holds water. There's some stuff up here, but I think there's more to like mark the entrance than serve any function. Like what would that do? What would be the function of that? There's pipes. But why? Why would you need pipes here? We got like homeless people out here as well. Okay, so homeless people, there's nothing here for them. There's no food, there's no water. You can't really live, I mean, it's just because you're homeless doesn't mean you can just live anywhere, right? Doesn't mean you can just set up your tent. You need food and water, otherwise you can't be there. So, there are tents here, but I don't know what's going on. Maybe these are not homeless people, maybe they're literally camping out here, and they're not actually homeless. I mean, you have to have a car to drive to buy food or something? I don't know. So here's the dam. This side of it, there's all sorts of trash over here. And remember when we were walking around Rancho Coronado, we talked about how that giant trash barge crashed into the mountain up there and dumped all the trash into the old reservoir, right? So presumably the old reservoir was back there, and then that's completely contaminated, and they had to build another dam here and build a new reservoir. The new reservoir, not too sure about the structure though. So usually the dams, it's concave, it's convex towards the water, right? So if you're like looking at it, that side is where the water is, and that's because it acts as an arch, right? So the water, the weight of the water pushes down on it, and so it's an arch to resist the forces pushing this way. So the fact that here it turns that way, it turns that way. So the physics of this is not really right, but sometimes you don't worry about that. Sometimes you just make the dam itself heavy enough that it doesn't have to use the convex. It's more if structurally efficient if it is an arch. That one, it does arch this way. This one it doesn't. Not sure what to make of that. Look at all that trash. That's crazy, man. That giant trash bar just dumped all of that. And there's not too much else for us to say about this, right? No, it's just a big wall of concrete. Huh. Presumably the river is up there. I can't see where the river comes in. Probably around the hill back there. Okay, we need to drive around. you can't climb those mountains. The game decides to kick you back for going out of bounds. So to get to the trash, we have to drive around the other dam. Along here. I whiffed that one. I whiffed it there. My bad. Excuse me. So over this dam. And then here, let's get off here. Oh, look at that trash barge. Let's go play in the trash. What's up here? There's a parking lot. I guess this is like a view. Like a place for you to look at the trash. So this used to be a beautiful lake, right? And you would come here and there's a viewing platform. But now it's like a giant pit of trash. It's so funny! The satire! The satire in this game, extremely funny. So now the tourist scenic view is just a pile of trash. Alright, let's go play in the trash. I'm gonna run up all the way to this giant barge. Ah, look at how much trash there is. Crazy, right? Who would do this? Wow, look at the size of this thing. So these barges are huge. They're as big as big cargo ships in our world. But they're flying. They just kind of fly across the sky. This is so cool. You just walk up to it. Oh, and the trash is on fire too, by the way, so if you thought the trash is not bad enough, it's also on fire. Okay, how far up can we go? Can we climb up the top of this? I feel like I can... Oh, no. So the game does not let us go that way, that's a shame. I wanted to like climb all over the trash barge, but I can't. The game doesn't let us. What's going on in there? So that's open? That's interesting. And maybe we're not supposed to see this. Or maybe there used to be containers in there. So if it's containers, if it's like a transport barge for shipping containers, you wouldn't need it to be solid all the way around, because the containers just sit within a frame, right? And the frame holds the containers in place. Not sure what to make of this though. Oh god, the geometry. What's this big ass thing? Oh, it's DTNR. DTNR is the shipping company, remember? Back in Arroyo, the big towers in Arroyo, can we see them from here? The big towers in Arroyo were DTNR. They're behind the bridge there, I think. It's not those ones, it's back there. Can't see them from here. Right, so this is 67U96 DTNR, so this is definitely a shipping barge owned by one of the megacorps. And they just crashed it here, and they just threw all the rubbish down there. Look at this, the whole mountain, the whole thing. So when you're crashing, right, I'm guessing as you're coming down and you're out of control, you would jettison all the cargo to reduce the weight on the aircraft so that when you land, you don't hit with as much energy, right? So you're trying to survive the crash. And so you drop all the weight that you can so that when you hit, you're as light as possible. And so I'm guessing this thing just came in, and as it was coming down, it just like dumped all the trash as it was coming down. And then eventually it just kind of smashed into the mountain here and dumped a lot of trash on the other side as well while it came down. And it's just this is just covered in trash now. There are some. What are those? Is that a digger? So DTR chucked all this rubbish here, right? And okay, it looks kind of bad. In fact, let me try and get back to daytime so we can get a better look at this. Hopefully it's not bad weather. I mean, in theory, you can clean this up. It's just rubbish. And it's not even big pieces of rubbish. If you like, get a lot of trucks, get a lot of diggers, and bulldozers, conceivably you could clean this up. But they're not cleaning this up. Obviously no one's even trying, right? There's nobody's working on this. So DTR just dumped a lot of trash here and they just left it here and they're not even trying to clean it up. Night City government is broke, we know that. So they don't have any money. And then the megacorps apparently don't give a damn about any of this. They just leave the rubbish here. And it just completely ruined, if you remember, it completely ruined Rancho Coronado. Because the pollution from here spilled into that district. And nobody wants to come this way anymore. I imagine this smells really bad. Is there another one? Hold on, this is not the only one. There's another flying barge over there. It's not the first time? Wait a minute, it's not the first time this happened? It must be some sort of scam. Insurance scam? Like you just accidentally dropped the rubbish here and then oops, I accidentally dropped it, I guess it's yours now, and then you just walk away? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's a little over the top. Like you like wait, there's a third one. There's multiple barges here, look at that. It's not just the one, it's multiple barges filled with trash. Just plowing into the space. Yeah, no, it's like, it's over the top to the point where you can't imagine it. Like, how could this be possible? But that's the satire, right? Like, it's like, Night City is worse than you ever imagined. And it doesn't have to be like this, look. Even if you don't move the rubbish away, you just get a bunch of trucks and you like pile it up on one end instead of spreading the trash thinly across the landscape, which is what it looks like here. It looks like the trash is just because it's like you're doing maximum damage, you're doing maximum pollution by spreading it out, right? You can just compact it into a smaller space. You could do that, but nobody's doing it, and it's just, you know, it's just left here. Oh, you know what? We should look up real-world architecture, real-world rubbish architecture. Hold on, let me just grab. Wait a minute. Let me grab. Uh, like what are some famous rubbish dumps? So here's one. I mean, there are a lot of rubbish dumps. The Fresh Kills landfill. The name is great. The name of the landfill is called Fresh Kills. Can you believe it? Oh yeah, look at that. So you have barges bringing rubbish in from the city. It's in New York, right? Yeah, no, it's Staten Island in New York City. It was opened in 1948 as a temporary landfill. Yeah, temporary. The worst kind of solution is a temporary solution because by 1955 it became the largest landfill in the world and remained so until its closure in 2001. Temporary. A temporary landfill that, oh, whoops, we started, I guess we're not gonna stop, and they just keep going. Keep going for over 50 years. Largest landfill in the world. And just keep chucking more and more rubbish into here. I mean, crazy. New York City. Ah, man, look at that. But you know, okay, as bad as it looks, Fresh Kills, it was organized, right? Look, it's organized. They have tractors pulling these things, so they're like, they specifically take the rubbish and they pile it up to try not to take up too much space, right? Like, there are like people working here to put the trash in a way that is, you know, that makes sense. Okay, debris from the World Trade Center. Oh yeah, no, the World Trade Center fell down and they just chucked everything into Fresh Kills. And so this is debris from the World Trade Center. So when when they wanted to do forensics, they had to like go to Fresh Kills to dig through the debris. So this is what it looks like now. They've cleaned it up. So they've closed the landfill. They put soil on top and then they plant some plants there. And they pretend there's not a giant pile of rubbish underneath. Yeah, okay, so this is... So real world, what I'm saying is, real world rubbish dump, you actually organize the trash. Like, you organize the trash in a way that makes it easier to manage. You don't just, like, dump it anywhere. Like, it's not random. This is random. They just chucked it everywhere, and nobody's, like, moving the trash around. Nobody's, like, putting it up in an organized way. Extremely bad. I am gonna climb through all of this until I get down back to the road. Yeah, trash. And here's the thing, right? Nothing happens here. This is not part of the gameplay. This is just background. So this enormous pile of rubbish at the back of the city, it serves no gameplay purpose. I mean, there's like one or two things that happen in a few parts, but you don't need all of this for that to happen. So this is just here for the aesthetics. The aesthetics of rubbish. Right. The aesthetics of environmental destruction. What the hell is that? What is that? Somebody just chucked the whole building here. Oh no, this used to be... Oh... Is that a conveyor belt? It's a conveyor belt. They used to organize the rubbish. And then they just gave up. Is this a pipe? What is this? This is machinery, right? Oh no, this used to be a tower and it fell down. Okay, it's a sideways tower. This used to be a tower and it fell down. Wow. And then there's a... I mean, they're trying to do something with the rubbish in here. It's not enough. It's not working. So this is like a junkyard. And there's a lot of old cars here. So I guess this is like an old car junkyard. Except, you know, within the context of this enormous pile of rubbish, the junkyard is a little bit silly, right? Like, why even bother? Why do you even try? So junkyard is not actually just junk, it's more like a scrapyard. Because the metal in the old cars, you would scrap that eventually and then recycle it. So you're not chucking away old cars, you're stripping off all the parts and then recycling the bits that you can, like the glass, the rubber. I'm not sure about the rubber. But the metal, the steel, will be recycled. Or should be recycled. Oh, wait, where's my... Okay, my bike is over there. Yeah, no, look at this. It's just like a thin layer of rubbish on the ground. It's not all rubbish. Okay, back on the bike. Let's get out of the trash. There's a smokestack over there. Are they burning the trash? I mean, look, the scale of the operations obviously does not match the scale of the problem. There's a few smokestacks. I think they're burning some of this trash. Like, I don't know what's going on. Whatever it is, they're not doing it fast enough, right? And then there's like a crane there. Not getting much done. Another gas station. Let's just check out this gas station. I don't think this is operational. No, there's a guy in there. Hold on, is it operational? Oh, it is. Wow. Huh. The gas station in the rubbish dump is operational? Do people come out here? Do they come out here to drop off rubbish? I mean, do they come out here to pick up rubbish? Like, what do they? Why do people come out here? Huh, interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean, there could be stuff you can scavenge from the rubbish. Not much, right? If it's thrown away, it can't be that good. But in a lot of places, especially in poorer countries, you have people like scavenging the rubbish dumps to try to pick out things they can recycle or sell for money.
Waste stored in the landfill is property of Night City.
We don't...
Taking trash is theft.
Oh, it's property of Night City. You see that? It's property of... This trash is the property of Night City. Taking it is theft. What are you gonna do with it? You're not doing anything with it. Oh, what is going on? Alright, out of the dump. Getting out of here.